This is the last match at Anfield in September. 3 tricky away games await around the corner. Arne Slot will no doubt shuffle his pack this evening given the looming schedule, but the expectation, well, that remains the same. Win. Liverpool's latest journey to Wembley and another Carabao Cup final begins this evening. It's a third round clash with Championship side Southampton. Kick-off is at 8 o'clock. We'll bring you live audio commentary of the full game here on LFC TV and on All Red Video. If you're watching on our social channels and would like to subscribe, just visit the official website for all the details. Good evening, welcome along to Anfield and to Matchday Live. Jay Spearing is alongside me for this one. We'll hear plenty from him over the course of the show and discuss in detail today's cup clash, but we won't start there if you'll permit us. Over the weekend, the club was hit with the tragic news of the passing of former Liverpool women's manager Matt Beard. He was just 47. Matt led the side to 2 WSL titles in his first spell in charge, and he steered the team back into the top flight during his second spell at the club. He made a huge impact here, and his loss has hit the Liverpool football family hard and come as a huge shock to everyone within the women's game. We want to begin tonight by paying tribute to Matt, and who better to do that than the striker who scored so many goals for the Reds under his charge. We can get the thoughts now of the former Liverpool women's striker Tash Dowie, who's with our reporter here at Anfield tonight, Peter McDowell.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Somebody that knew Matt Beard probably better than most footballers, in the sense that Tash, he helped you into the professional game, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I know you thought the world of him, and it's been a really tough couple of days.
Yeah, it has, to be honest. It's the first time I've spoken about it today. I actually had a chat earlier on and broke down. So when I think of Beardy, just great memories. You know, I've got so much to thank him for. I made the move to Charlton when I was 17 years of age, and that's where my kind of professional career started. And him and Keith Bonas, and we have some great memories. And then he obviously brought me over to Liverpool from Everton. And I remember when I got the phone call from him asking me to sign for Liverpool, it was a very easy decision, you know, because of how much respect I had for him and what he was creating here and what he did in those 2 years. I mean, I played for 16 different clubs, 6 different countries. Those 2 years, 2013-14, was so special, and that was a massive part to do with him.
It was etched into all of our memories, wasn't it? You think of how dramatic, how late it was, but also how he built that squad. He had really young players that have all gone on to huge levels in the game, haven't they? And that balance of experience as well. He was all about that, wasn't he? Personalities as well as ability. I
talked about that team, and it wasn't about the best players, it was about good people. And when you look at who he brought in, Becky Easton, myself, Gemma Bonner, Farrah Williams, you know, some Lucy Bronze. And then I remember when he was talking about bringing over players from Iceland, from Sweden, Germany, America, and to create what he created. And Arsenal had dominated women's football for 10 years. And for us to then go on and win the league back-to-back was massively to do with Beardy, you know, because of the personality that he has, the way that you would run through a brick wall for him. And that's why I followed him all around the world, because for me, I was at my happiest when I was playing for him. And when I went through tough periods on the pitch, and when you're going through tough moments, when you look to the sideline and you see a manager like him who would do anything for you, the person first rather than the player. He always asked, how's Becky, how's your family, how's your dad, how's your mum? Never about the footballer. Always wanted to make sure you were okay, and then the football would come second.
He was a force of nature as well, wasn't he? You didn't always see eye to eye with him, because he had very strong opinions on things. But you know, he'd fall out with people, and the next day he'd be the best friend again. That was the way he was, wasn't it? And
I think that's why you love Beardy. I say that he was a pain in the arse sometimes. You know, it's that love-hate where. But I loved that about him, is that he was him. He never tried to change. He never tried to be something he wasn't. People say he was old school, but that was Beardy, you know. And like you said, you come head to head. We had many a times, you know, when we would disagree on things, and we were both very passionate people. But the next morning, you walk in, you see his cheeky smile, you see his beautiful blue eyes. He gives you that massive bear hug, and it's all forgotten. And I think that's why everyone loved him so much.
Those trophy wins that you talk about as well, he was a massive Millwall fan, wasn't he? But you know, the times he got to manage Liverpool here, the times he got to parade around with what almost were like his own children,
Yeah.
weren't they, the players? He was very proud to represent Liverpool.
Yeah, he was. He said it many a times, even when then he left the club and went travelling around the world. When he said he came back, he realised just how special this club was. And you do. You know, I did the same when I came back here. But when you look at, you know, your Katie Zellums, your Ash Hodsons, you know, look at some of the people that he's brought through, Missy Bo Kearns, you look at what they've been saying on social media. I mean, I just hope he realises how much he was loved and respected, because the whole football world, you know, the amount of people that he has touched, not just in England, not just in women's football, all around the world, people that haven't even played for him, you know, never been managed by him, but would have loved to have, because they've heard stories of what he was like. Honestly, he's just an incredible person. And I say it again, I'm so, so happy that he was a part of my life. And from 17 years old, the start of my career, he brought me back home. You know, I went through a really tough period where I came back from AC Milan, was 34. You know, none of the top clubs kind of wanted me, because I was getting a bit older. Went to Reading, wasn't enjoying my football, was really unhappy. First time ever in my career that my love for the game went. And I remember getting on the phone to Beardy, and he did everything he possibly could to get me that loan move back to Liverpool. And he didn't need to do that, you know, and that was because he knew me. He knew how much I wanted to play for him and how much I loved the club. But to bring me home and then allow me to then retire and to have the role that I have now, that's a lot to do with him as well. And again, always, you know, thinking of everyone else, probably ahead of himself sometimes.
That phone call would have been special. You spoke there about him coming back, and you hear lots of people talk about you don't appreciate it sometimes first time around, but when you do get the chance to come back to a club like this, and he felt that as well. The phone calls from him were just round the bend, weren't they? Some of the things he'd phone you about, not very often they were football conversations.
Honestly, when I went, actually, I probably shouldn't have, but I went back through messages to read, and I was crying my eyes out reading some of it, but also a massive smile on my face, because he was just so funny, whether it was a happy birthday voice note with his top off, or he's FaceTiming you in the bath, you know, and he's just such a joker. You just think, Beardy, what are you doing? And I remember there's a couple of funny stories. I remember when I played for him over in Boston, he invited me and Becky over for a roast dinner. And he had a few drinks, you know what Beardy was like, and he completely forgot that the meal was even getting cooked. So we must have been sitting there for 4 hours, never got any food. The roast potatoes were rock solid. And it's just moments like that you just look back and you think, God, we did have a laugh together, to be honest. 17, when I was at Charlton, him and Keith Bonas together, the characters that he had there. And I think things that have stuck out in my mind as well is the amount of respect I had for him. I remember when I came back on loan, my first game back at Tranmere, we were playing Leicester. We were 1-0 down, and he brought me on. And I remember it was an open goal. Balls come out, and all I have to do is head it into the net, and I hit the crossbar, and we lose the game 1-0. And it was my first game back. I really wanted to have a good impact to help the team. We were in the relegation battle at the time. And I remember messaging Beardy that night, devastated, just saying, I'm really sorry, Gaffer. I should have scored that. I've let you down. And he replied just saying, Tash, you've got nothing to prove to me. I know you're a goal scorer. I know the goals will come, and you'll keep us safe. And luckily, you know, I scored a few goals, and we remained safe in the league. But even things like that, I just think it shows how much I wanted to do him proud and how much I respected him. And I think every player that did felt the same.
I'm sure he was dead proud of you as well. So sorry for your loss,
thank you.
Tash, and everybody's feeling it. And there will be a period of respect for Matt Beard tonight as well, a period of silence just before kick-off to remember, as we mentioned before, a force of nature and somebody that achieved so much here at the club. Back to you guys pitchside.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, Jay, incredibly sad news when it broke over the course of the weekend. You know, Liverpool's it's a huge place, it's a huge machine, but it's also a family in so many ways. So you end up crossing paths with different individuals in different areas of the club. I know at times you cross paths with Matt in different guises. What are your memories of his impact around the place?
Do you know, I was very fortunate enough when I was at Tranmere for 2 years. The Liverpool women were based there, so you know, on a day-to-day basis we would cross paths, and we'd have chats. And I always remember a really good time sitting in a canteen, just talking about football. And we were there for probably about an hour, just literally talking about all things to do with the women's game, all things to do with obviously how Tranmere were doing. I'd just started like the first start of a journey of like coaching with the under-16s for night time. You know, so I was getting a bit of guidance on, you know, what did he enjoy about coaching, how did he fall into it, what was his pathway. But then genuine for me, I think he was just a genuinely good guy. You know, he wanted to know everything about you, away from the pitch, off the pitch, and he wanted to know about your family, your friends, everything. And he was always bubbly. I always remember coming in the gym, and he was always having a laugh with the girls. He wanted the atmosphere and the camaraderie around the place to be a fun place to come, and he made it that way. So, it's an incredible, difficult loss for this football club, but also for the women's game, because when it comes down to it, he was an incredible manager. He was an unbelievable guy at what he did. He knew what he was doing, but you can see with with Tasha's words there, how he touched all them players, and he touched the game in general. There's the heartfelt that's gone out to him and his family over the last couple of days is incredible. And football, takes a step back, and we show the support. We send all obviously condolences to his family at this difficult time.
Yeah, we certainly do. Just another occasion in which the Liverpool family have pulled together as well, when a part of it is hurting, everyone is hurting, and again we've seen that over the course of the last few days. It's hit everyone hard, and that'll be people as well. A lot of them maybe don't follow the women's team week in, week out, have been hit hard by this news.
Yeah, of course it will be. Anybody's passing is an incredibly difficult time for anybody, especially their close family and friends. And the club, how tight this club can be, whatever level it may be, in academy, women's football, men's football, we all become one in these difficult moments. And the support straight away, with our game on Sunday, we sent our respects, and the black armbands and a minute's silence. The game was cancelled, another sign of respect from the club, and we'll pay our respects tonight. So he was an incredible human being, and the club, when in these difficult times, he pulled together as one.
Yeah, they certainly do. Just to underline how much Matt will be missed and the impact he made across the women's game, I saw that Jackie Oatley, sports reporter, sports journalist, who worked massively in the women's game with Matt, started a Just Giving page to try and help his family through this, to try and raise something to help them. They set the target of £5,000, I think, yesterday. I checked it before we came on air. It's about 40 grand. I think that underlines just how much he meant to people and how big an impact he did make. Okay, well, news of Matt's passing has been greeted by an outpouring of grief and condolence right across football. And when speaking to our man James Carroll on Monday, Arne Slot wished to pay his own tribute to the former Liverpool FC women manager.
Well, Arne, the club received the tragic news that former LFC women manager Matt Beard had passed away on Saturday. What was your reaction to the news?
One of grief. I met him last season, and he not only did great things for this football club, for the women's team, back-to-back league titles, came back to the women's team when they were playing one division below, so that tells you how much probably he loved the club as well. So if you hear a thing like this, I think 47 if I'm correct, that's my age as well at the moment, then devastated to hear.
The response since this news broke has shown the esteem in which Matt is held. It is fair to say he's going to leave a lasting legacy, not just on Liverpool FC, but in women's football in general. Yeah. I think in these moments the football world always shows itself at its best, and that's also what happened. What happened now is not only that he gets all the respect he deserves here at Liverpool, but I think all around the women's football. So I've heard and also saw the respect the Arsenal fans showed him. So that tells you how much impact he had on the game of football. But then we only talk about football. I think the Melwood staff and everyone that worked with him liked him so much, and that's probably even a more important legacy to leave behind than the trophies you win. That the person you are is always more important than what you've won. But in his situation, both things were combined. So successful as a manager and a great human being. How important is it for yourself, your staff and your players to pay tribute to Matt before our game against Southampton? No, very important for what he meant for this football club. And this football club is not only the men's team, it's also the women's team. And he had an enormous impact on women's football here in Liverpool. But apart from that, it's also his family, and that's going through such a hard time at the moment. And as I've experienced by being here now for 1.5 years, if people are going through a difficult period, the Liverpool fans and we as a team always want to be there for the people that go through such a difficult time. And that's now the situation for his wife and his 3 children.
Arne Slot speaking there after the passing of Matt Beard, Liverpool FC women's most successful manager. Okay. Okay, well, we do have a football match to look ahead to tonight, so we'll try our best to do that just now. And we can bring you the team news for this evening's Carabao Cup clash between Liverpool and Southampton. We expected rotation from Arne Slot for the visit of the Saints, and the boss has not let us down. It is an entirely different 11 from that lined up against Everton in the Merseyside derby at the weekend, and it includes 2 debutants as well. It'll be Georgi Mamashvili who starts in goal, playing for the first time. There's also a debut for centre-back Giovanni Leone as well. So the lineup in full is Mamashvili in goal, the back four of Jeremy Frimpong, Joe Gomez, Giovanni Leone and Andy Robertson. The midfield three will be Curtis Jones, Wataru Endo and Trey Naoni, with Rio Ungamoa, Fede Chiesa and Alexander Isak as the front three. On the bench, Woodman, Kirkes, Bradley, Ekatike, Reece Williams returns, Gordon, Morrison, Pilling and Dance. Well, Jay, I think the thing that jumps out to me from that lineup tonight is how strong it is, and perhaps shows the evolution of this squad. Year on year, the depth is getting better. In the past, when we've made so many changes, there's been a smattering of maybe 3-4 academy players starting, who perhaps are more of a risk. None of that tonight. Yes, Rio's in, but apart from that, established players by and large.
Yeah, it is, and I think, like you say, over the years, over the last 18 months now, the manager's brought in a lot of players, and these all need minutes. Every single one of them there that are leading, that are involved in the team tonight, need minutes. The manager, over the last 18 months that he's been in the building, you've seen that he keeps his key team quite regularly, quite still, quite calm, and quite regular in the position. So, these boys are now, it's a huge opportunity for every single one of them. And, we class them all as first team players, but again, it's an opportunity to try and push the manager and say, do you know what, I'm still waiting for the chance that when it may come, I'm available to play. And then obviously an added extra for us is that we see so many academy boys being involved in the game, and it's a fantastic occasion for them if they do get any minutes tonight to go and represent themselves and try and get an opportunity and showcase what they're about.
I'll start with one of the bigger names and we'll work our way back through some of the newer faces. Well, let's start with Alexander Isak. It makes total sense for him to start tonight, to try and get minutes in his legs, because he has missed so much competitive football over the course of the summer. Yeah, exactly. The Atletico Madrid game as well, you could see probably after about 20 minutes he needed a second win to kick in quite quickly. So when he came out of the second half, if I was honest, I was probably quite surprised he did come out for the second half, but shows that, in that difficult period that he was going through, that he was still obviously doing some sort of work to keep himself fit. I felt, by the way, that when he came into this game, I felt he did a really good 60 minutes for the team. We didn't expect him to be involved in the derby the weekend. We expected that Hugo to come in and take his place. But tonight, for me, is a fantastic chance for him just to get them added minutes leading into this busy period that Liverpool are going into, with 2 Premier League fixtures away from home. In this, for that example there, you can see what his class is about, and he's just finding his feet. He's a natural goal scorer, and I think tonight is a good chance for him, hopefully, to get off the mark. Yeah, of course, seen what he can do firsthand in his time at Newcastle. We've seen what he can do in this competition as well. What you've seen from his first 2 appearances in a red shirt, though, is little glimpses, haven't you, of what can come further down the line. But what he's missing, it's that chance, it's that rhythm. And sometimes I think on the outside, we underestimate how hard it is to get rhythm as a football. We think, you must be fit enough to play, but it's not just that, is it? Do you know what? People class it as like fit enough to play, but it's also mentally fit enough to play. And I know that sounds a little bit mad, but when you're coming into these moments, especially for him, with the pre-season, the off-season he's had, and all the talk that's been around him, coming into that first game would have been incredibly mentally draining as well, because the pressure is now on him because of the price tag that he brings with him. The history and the performance he did at Newcastle. He's expected to come here and score goals. Everyone's expecting him to do that. So coming into that game, first and foremost, it's like the fitness of being able to run, to press, to hold the ball up, to make runs in behind, to get into the box. Then it's mentally to understand, when am I going to press? When's the right time to do this? The manager wants me to do to press in a certain way, sit off in a different kind of way. So, to get 60 minutes out of him, that's what I'm saying. I do feel it was incredible to show that the condition that he's in. But leading into tonight, it might hopefully be a bit more of a controlled game rather than the Atletico Madrid, where it was a bit back and forth. I'm hoping that Liverpool have a lot more control, where he can start to show his final third dynamics, his late runs, his runs into the box, and hopefully his finishing. Well, we've seen his finishing, as I mentioned, first-hand against us in the past. We saw it in this competition last season. He is looking to win back-to-back Carabao Cups as well. It's huge motivation for him, and we want to see the player that was so effective in a Newcastle shirt, don't we? Yeah, listen, I don't think it's going to take long before that player comes out. Match fitness is playing games is the only way that he's going to get up to speed. The more games he plays, the quicker he's going to get fit. Like I say, we come into the Southampton game tonight, Palace the weekend, and then we roll into
into the international break just after obviously Chelsea as well. So they get difficult games to go into, but he'll be ready for them to play. And match fitness is the only time he's going to be able to do that, which is playing games, and obviously training. It's completely different. Two different types of fitness.
Talk to us about Giovanni Leone. You're one of the few people who's seen him up close. What is he like? What are your first impressions of him? We get our first glimpse of him in a Liverpool shirt out on the field tonight.
He's a monster. That's probably first and foremost. He's a very, very big boy. He's calm on the ball. I actually had quite a decent conversation with Virgil yesterday over him and a few of the other younger lads. How are they doing training around there? He's really impressed with him. He thinks he's taking everything in his stride. He's come with a little bit of a price tag for a young boy at 18. He obviously played last year and done really, really well and deserved his move. He's come here, he's not had much game time, and it was just more of a conversation of, has he embedded into the squad? Has he realised that the club that he's at, the stature of the club, the pressures that come with playing for Liverpool Football Club? But he said, listen, he's learning every single day, and like I say, he's not too bad centre-backs to learn from, and Virgil van Dijk and Ibu Konate, and even Joe Gomez. He can learn an incredible amount from them, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does tonight.
17 appearances, 1 goal for Parma in Serie A last season. He's got good pedigree for a man who is still very young. What type of centre-back is he? Is he an aggressive centre-back, a ball-winning type centre-back, or is he more of a laid-back, good-on-the-ball centre-back? How would you...
Do you know what? I think he's a combination of two. I think on the ball, he is very, very calm. He'll play the ball simple. He likes a diag. I don't know if he's looking from Virgil from that one. He likes to get it, he likes to give it. But then when he's defending, he's got that Italian bite to him. You look back at the Italian defenders, the Maldinis, they're always, when they defend one-on-one, they're aggressive, they're in your face, they're tight, they're pulling your shirt. They want to win the headers, they want to win the tackles, and that's the little edge that I see from him on a daily basis, even in training. And a few of our young lads have tasted that already this season. So, yeah, that's why I'm really looking forward to seeing, playing in front of Anfield for the first time. I'm sure he'll be nice and calm, but also really aggressive in his tackling.
The other debutant is Georgi Marmashvili, and we know more about him. We've seen him play for Georgia. He was excellent in the Euros just gone. What have you made of him in training? It's just quite incredible, isn't it? We've got 2 goalkeepers who are in the top 10 for goalkeepers at the Ballon d'Or within our squad.
It is mad to look at it in that way, because, like you say, one's finished second and one finished 7th. It's like, but one of them can't simply get a game because one's obviously in second place. Ali's, for me, he's one of the best keepers in the world, and obviously that last night proves that. But Mamardashvili, for me, in training, his levels are so high. He's pushing Ali every single day. He's working hard with Xavi, the goalie coach. Some of the saves he pulls off in training, you're thinking, wow. And you can see, why Liverpool went out there and got him to come in for cover as Ali. For me, he'll probably be the long-term replacement. I think he's a fantastic guy. He's lovely left-footed. I know it sounds a bit of an obvious statement, but he just loves shot blocking. He loves to put his body on the line. He runs out quickly, makes himself as big as possible, and like there, look, a prime example, nice timing, and that's what he's about. He wants to get the ball out of his net, and again, that sounds obvious, but he's a fantastic goalkeeper and a nice guy.
One of the names sort of springs out from the bench. Rhys Williams came in the 2021 season, played 19 times, played some big teams, played against Spurs, Atalanta, Ajax, had minutes against these clubs, and out from the cold now, out from the wilderness a little bit. How big an opportunity for him now to remind people of what he can do if he gets any minutes here, or even just by being in and around games like this?
Yeah, Rhys, listen, he came in at a difficult time under Jurgen when we had a lot of injuries, and he played alongside Nat Phillips. Them two that come in, the fans took to them incredibly well. They did everything they could for the badge. The games that they played, they done really, really well. He then obviously went on loan and came back and went on loan for a little bit. A few of them loans were quite difficult for him. He found it a little bit of a transition time, quite a difficult time. He then came, back to the academy and stayed with us for 6 months and played quite a lot of games to get himself going again. But like you say, now, after a year on loan again, to come back and for the manager to see him and now pull him and say, listen, I want you to be involved on Tuesday night at Southampton. For him, it's an incredible thing. You can see the smile on his face came back. Even though he is a 24-year-old man, when the manager pulled him and said that he's going to be involved, you could see what it meant to him. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted for him. He's had a little bit of a difficult time away from the game. So yeah, a huge opportunity for him, hopefully, if he gets a chance tonight. Yeah,
and didn't let us down in those games when he was thrown into things as a very young man. A current young man, another academy player, Rio Ngamoa. We've seen what he can do. We've seen the excitement around him. This feels like a match where he can really showcase his talent once again. Just his second start, of course, a real opportunity from the off to go and attack this Southampton back line.
Yeah, for him again tonight, I was speaking to him the other day, and I kind of just said, listen, I just want you to be you. You know, I know obviously he's playing in a game now where he's playing with world-class players and around him, and I want him to stick to being Rio. And what I mean by that is I want him to still, you know, when he gets on the ball, I want him to express himself. I want him to, you know, go and beat someone in a 1v1. I want him to take a step over and try and find a killer pass. You know, there are going to be times where the ball comes to him and like 2 or 3 defenders come and press him, and that's the right time to pass the ball away and keep it simple. But when he gets them one-on moments, that's the bit that the fans want to see. They want to see that electricity from him. They want to see that excitement from him. They want to see him be free and express himself, and that's what I want to try and keep in Rio. You know, the moments at Newcastle was incredible, not just for him but the academy as a whole. You know, the work that we did with him for the year when he first came in, he deserved that opportunity, and now he's got another one tonight to go and express himself and enjoy, and listen, most of all for me, he just has to enjoy himself. That's the biggest thing for him tonight. Go and enjoy himself, and when he enjoys himself, that's when he's free, and that's when he shows what he's best about doing.
Yeah, he does tend to do that. Anytime we see him, he looks like he's playing with a smile on his face. Another guy who plays with a smile on his face is Fede Chiesa. I suppose he has to try and channel his disappointment, if there is disappointment, because he's not involved in the Champions League squad. So games like this, competitions like this, are really where he can and has to thrive.
Yeah, he does, and you know, Fede's an unbelievable guy. He scored, you know, to start the season, he scored an absolute huge goal for us to win this game. It's a fantastic finish, by the way, but off the field, you would have no idea of the setbacks that he's taken over the time. You know, he's smiling, he's lively, he's entertaining around AXA, he's having fun with the lads. He's a fantastic player. He can finish, and obviously not just that, but on a day-to-day basis, he gives 120% in every single one. And you know, if he scores or someone else scores, like the Mo at Burnley, you can see how happy he is for his teammates to do well. Now, I know personally he'll be disappointed not to be involved in the Champions League, you know, but around the changing room, he's still, you know, hoping that everyone does well. He's still patting everyone's back. He's still like supporting everybody. So it shows what a true pro he is on and off the field.
And teams have flexibility now if injuries and things happen to tweak their Champions League squads this season. So that creates opportunities for guys like Fed who may get pulled into the reckoning later down the line. Okay, it is the Carabao Cup tonight. We should underline what has happened in the competition so far, because remember, these days it is staggered because of the demands of the new expanded Champions League and Europa League format. So some teams played last week, so some teams are already through. And we can show you who is through already and what lies ahead for the rest of this week. Grimsby are the big success story in the competition so far. Obviously knocked out Manchester United, but they've gone another round further with a victory against Sheffield Wednesday as well. They are through, as are Brentford, Palace and Swansea. Tonight and tomorrow's games, apart from Wolves versus Everton, all the other Premier League sides are fairly decent looking ties. Arguably Liverpool have one of the toughest draws. Granted though, some of the League One sides are flying at the moment, but tonight no Premier League side can take these games for granted. The draw for the next round will take place after full time in the game tomorrow between Port Vale and Arsenal. Okay, let's get Arne Slot's take on tonight's encounter. And the boss begins by confirming his reasoning for the significant rotation in his starting lineup.
It's the same as we did last season in the League Cup. So many games need to be played, and our players are able to do so, but then once in a while they need a bit of rest as well, because we sometimes tend to forget, because we are so focused, and I'm the first one focused on our games at Liverpool, but many of them have played twice for the national teams as well. So they are able to do a lot, but once in a while they need a little bit of rest, and then I'm talking about 2 days of rest, which is still not a lot. So yeah, there will be a completely changed lineup. But that our players are fit, that's clear, because a lot have been said about the added time against Everton, but I would have loved to play on 34 seconds more, because we were in a 5v2 situation at that moment. Now that tells you, I think, all about the mentality we have, always wanting to score a goal. The 3 minutes were completely correct, by the way, because there were only 3 moments where substitution was made. There was no time wasting, because that's not what we do. Unfortunately, I have to say sometimes. And there was no treatment of injuries, so 1 goal scored. So yeah, then you come to 3. Where in many other games, when we need a goal, there's a lot of time wasting going on, I can tell you.
Is this maybe an opportunity for some of those players who maybe haven't had the full pre-season or a lot of minutes so far this season to get some time on a pitch. I'm thinking like Alexander, Georgie, Giovanni.
Yeah, we can go through all of them. Wata, Endo, a few more. So yeah, these are the players that need a game, and we're happy that we have one. If we wouldn't have had one, we probably would have arranged a friendly in this week for these players, because they need to play games as well, to keep them ready whenever we need them. And we've used quite a lot in the last 3 games, because we thought we needed that to keep this energy going throughout all the 3 games. But not all of them, and the few we haven't used, it's definitely the perfect moment for them to get playing time.
It is a game at Anfield. There is a trophy at stake at the end of the tournament. So even with a changed lineup, it is fair to say this is a tournament Liverpool want to go all the way in.
Yeah, because last season we reached the final with these lineups. And there's no trophy we underestimate. We always want to win every trophy we compete for. But that's the good thing about the quality of the squad we have, that we still have a very good team that we can play tomorrow. But we have to think about the long term as well. If we want to compete in every single trophy, then some players need a normal week, which is not playing during the week, once in a while as well. And that's managing a team throughout the whole season with trying to compete at every level we are competing for.
Now, fully on topic for tonight's squad, packed with under-21 players. Over the past few years, there's probably only one man in the stadium who's seen more Liverpool 21s games than Jay Spearing. I only say that because Jay got sent off in one last season, missed the end of a match. We don't like details like that here. The man I'm talking about, of course, is our man in the gantry, Steve Hunter. Steve.
Thank you so much, Mark. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, we love the Carabao Cup, don't we? We've won it 10 times. And, you know, the one that stands out more than anyone else was that wonderful one, because it was Jurgen's last trophy that made it even that more so special, didn't it? February 2024 against Chelsea's multi-million players. Remember, James McConnell, who's now on loan for a season at Ajax, had more touches in extra time than Enzo, Fernandez in that Chelsea midfield. But that's unbelievable, isn't it? And an incredible start. What a day that was. Queeve Kelleher making some great saves. Jarell Kwanzaa coming on at the back. Danzy coming on, nearly scoring the winner. Bobby Clark. It was amazing, wasn't it? Connor Bradley, of course, was our right back in that game. Don't forget, Ryan Gravenberch was stretched off early in that one too. And Trey Nioni, who plays tonight, him and Lewis Kumas, who's now on loan at Birmingham, were both on the bench, so both have got a winner's medal. That was so special for everyone at the Academy, for Alex Inglethorpe, and we always will remember it very fondly with Jurgen's last trophy. It was magnificent. Hopefully we can do well again this season. Of course, Southampton coming to Anfield tonight, of course, and it brings back great memories for Jayden Dans on the bench, and indeed Trey Nioni, who came off the bench in that one. You remember Louis Kumas scored at the Anfield Road end in the FA Cup tie against the Saints, and then Danzy living a dream. It was like proper Roy of the Rovers stuff, scoring 2 at the Cop end. It was just magnificent, wasn't it? Don't forget, Danzy still only 19, of course, and a couple of lads on the bench tonight, the likes of Tommy Pilling, who recently turned 21 on September the 14th. He's been a regular in Jay and Rob Page's under-21 side. A young boy, Tommy Pilling, been at the club since the age of 5, and of course Arne Slot handed him an Anfield appearance against Athletic Club in pre-season. Kieran Morrison, he's a big favourite of ours, isn't he? Regular Academy viewers. Kieran is still only 18. He's on the bench tonight. He didn't get on against Athletic Club, but he's a mainstay in the 21s. He scored some wonderful goals for the 18s and indeed the 21s over the years. And how about Cade Gordon as well? Got to give Cade Gordon a mention, because he didn't get to go out on loan. He's only 20, Cade, and he's been in tremendous form in the games he's played for the under-21s for Rob Page and Jay so far. He's shown a terrific attitude, Cade Gordon, and I wanted to highlight him. And as the lads alluded to before, Rhys Williams, that memory of him and Nat Phillips, that final game against Middlesbrough, that special picture of them two together, I think it summed it up, didn't it? They were absolute lionhearts, the pair of them, under Jurgen Klopp. It's very, very special indeed, and as I say, Mark and Jay, special, isn't it, this Carabao Cup, because it means the Academy kids get the involvement. Mark, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Steve. Well, on that, and on that last Carabao Cup triumph, the last one under Jurgen, when so many young lads were involved, you just tell me a little special thing about it, nice little touch from the boys off the back of it.
Yeah, listen, for us as an academy, is an unbelievable trip. You know, to see so many of our young lads getting on and playing. They were kind enough as the players the photo at the end with all the academy boys there. They'd got one each and they'd signed every single one, and they'd handed one to every single under 21 member of staff. So now that's obviously right in my living room, like right on pride of place, because, you know, even when you play a small part now, obviously for me, coming through from the age of 7 all the way through, I've been in them their boys' footsteps and loved every single minute of it, and for them to go and do it, and for me to play now a part in that, is an incredible moment, but obviously a incredible gesture from them as well.
Yeah, lovely touch from the boys. A window into the life of being married to a football coach. Pictures of the kids pushed to one side. Nice signed academy photo on the mantelpiece. There you go, love. Deal with that. Okay, it is time for viewers on social media to leave us just now, but don't worry, our Matchday Live build-up will continue here on LFC TV and on All Red Video. If you're not yet subscribed, what are you doing? You can find details of how to join us online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Get signed up. You won't miss anything then. Coming up in the rest of our pre-match show, we'll look back on Saturday's win in the Merseyside derby. We'll turn our attention to the Saints as well. Plus, we'll hear from the man between the sticks this evening, Georgi Marmarashvili. Just before the kick-off, Steve and Neil Mellor will guide you through all the action with our live audio commentary service. And then, after the full-time whistle, we'll be back down pitchside to look over the game and hopefully bring you some post-match reaction as well. That post-match show will also be available to listen to in the reaction on the club's official podcast platform. You'll be able to watch the full game from midnight on LFC TV and All Red Video, and of course look out for Inside Anfield 2, which takes you behind the scenes of events here at the ground tonight. That will be on Facebook and on YouTube at some point on Thursday.